Hello everyone, good to have you here. Today I'm going to be making yam pottage. I'm going to be revealing secrets and tips on how you can make the best yam pottage ever. My name is Ify and welcome to my kitchen. To make this lush and creamy yam pottage recipe, you'll need the following ingredients: yam, seasoning powder, cow skin, also known as kpomo. Now this has been cooked and cut to bite-sized pieces, crayfish, some ripe plantains, salt, ugu leaves, palm oil, smoked dried fish, onions, tomatoes, red bell pepper. I've removed all the seeds as you can see, cayenne pepper, also known as shombo, and the last but not the least, the Scotch bonnet peppers. Don't worry, I'll drop a list of all the ingredients I'm using in the description box and you can get it right there. Before we proceed any further, can I ask you for two favors, please? Can you kindly click the subscribe button? I'd like for you to become part of this growing family. Also click the notification bell. And the second favor, please give me a thumbs up. It really does help with this YouTube algorithm. Thank you guys so much, appreciate it. Okay, back to what we're doing. So what I'm doing is to peel my yam. I sliced it first and now I'm peeling it. Once I'm done peeling the yam, I'm going to cut it into smaller cubes. This helps the yam cook faster and also it's easier to mash the yam when it's done. So I cut it into this and then I put them into into a bowl of water. Now this water helps to prevent the yams from getting any form of discoloration. You want to do that. If you don't put it in the water, it'll change color to maybe red. Some will change to red and you don't want that. So put it in water pending when you use it. I'll just cut up the remaining yam and show you the next step. Like I showed you earlier, we're going to be using some peppers and tomatoes for this delicious and yummy yam pottage, okay? So what I've done was to remove the seed from my red bell pepper, which you also know as tatashe. Now these seeds tend to be bitter, okay? And you don't want any form of bitterness in your food. So just, get rid of it, give the tatashe a good rinse, and it's ready to use. So I'm going to cut up my tomatoes, onions, all these things will make my blender. It will aid the blending of these peppers, cutting them up into smaller bits, okay? So once I'm done, I'm just going to put it in my blender and then blend it. Now while blending, if you can avoid adding any water, that's fine. It'll make your peppers fry really fast. So add as little water if you must add water, or don't add water at all. In a clean pot, add some palm oil. Once your palm oil is hot enough, you can introduce your onions. And now we're going to let these onions fry up for about a minute or two. This will allow it to soften a bit and also flavor the oil. In this way, we're building flavor for our dish. Now add in the peppers. One of the secrets to making a delicious yam pottage is the quantity of peppers and tomatoes that you use here. In this recipe, you'll find that we use very little tomatoes, very few, when compared to the peppers and tatashe that we used. That will make your tomato base not sour at all, which is very, very important. Another secret is that you have to fry your pepper mix, okay? Some people just add it and boil it, put it to the yam pottage. They don't fry it. That's okay, but if you want to make a really tasty one, then fry your pepper mix, yeah? Alright, so we've added crayfish and my seasoning powder. If you notice, I left off some of the crayfish. We're going to add it at a later time. That is another tip to making a very delicious yam pottage, okay? I've also added some salt in here, mixed everything together, and now adding some water. Once you've added the water in, give it a good stir, okay? and then introduce your yam cubes. You don't need to wait for the water to boil up first before you introduce your yam cubes. We're not making jollof rice here, so no need for that. Once you add your water, add the yam cube, stir it, okay? And you'll find that since we're making yam pottage, we need it to be really, really soft, okay? It's okay to add additional water, all right? Add enough water to like cover the top of the yam. Stir some more and then cover the pot. Allow it to cook before we introduce the next ingredients. Time to check on the yam. At this time, the yam would have cooked halfway through. So you add your dry fish. Now this fish, I washed it with some warm water and some salt. I'm also adding the plantain. This is another secret to making great tasty yam pottage. Just add a bit of ripe plantain. Not too much that it's so obvious, but just enough that you can, the yam, it lends some sweetness to the yam. You can't tell what is in there, but the yam tastes really good. Do you get what I mean? Great. So I've added now I'm adding some more water. Yes, you need water because we need the yam to be as tender as possible before we mash it, okay? So we're just going to cover the pot, and the next time we come here, the yam would have been fully cooked. After a few minutes, I came to check on the yam pottage and it is all done. The yams are really, really tender. And because the plantains were so ripe, you almost can't see it. It has dissolved into the pottage, into the sauce, so by the time you stir and combine everything together, you won't even see the plantain anymore. You'll just be deriving the sweetness from it, which is the whole essence of adding it in the first place. So can you see what I'm doing? I'm just breaking up the yams a bit, yeah? I don't like to break up every yam. In fact, I don't feel like yam pottage, every piece of yam should be broken up. Just break up a few, maybe like half of it to get that creamy, lush consistency you can see there, okay? So break it up, or you can break up the whole thing if that is your style. Feel free to do what you like, okay? So now I'm adding the vegetables and I'm also adding the remaining crayfish. Yes, that is another tip to making great tasting yam pottage. Add your crayfish at the end of the cooking. It just gives it a really nice and bold flavor. So after adding your vegetables and the crayfish, you really should turn off the heat after about 8 minutes or 2 because the heat in the pot will keep cooking it. So turn it off and your yam pottage is all done. Guys, if you've enjoyed this video, remember to give me a thumbs up and to subscribe to my channel. So the next time I see you, keep eating good food and take care of yourself. Bye!